Hello to everybody who's currently on the clock. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour, one phone call. No names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi, everybody. Chris Gethard here, and I know not all of you love an intro. If you want to skip right to the call, I think it's only about 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes this time. Go ahead, skip ahead, follow us on TikTok. That's a new thing. Otherwise, enjoy the call. Hi, everybody. It's Chris Gethard, and so happy to talk to you on another episode of Beautiful Anonymous. Feel really lucky to be here. This call, we just finished recording it, makes me feel lucky to be here, and I think a lot of you are going to listen and go, oh, right. Positivity is important. Feeling grateful for what you've got is important. Figuring out ways to be resilient in the face of all the harsh things life can throw at us, those feel important. I'm going to talk to you more about this call in just a moment. First up, I have to say thank you to everybody who's been signing up at beautifulanonymous.com. As of this recording, we are up to 1,211 signups, which is nothing to sneeze at. And thank you to everybody who's signed up over at beautifulanonymous.com. That's really amazing of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also wanted to mention that we have a TikTok now. Our friend Devin Hall has been building a TikTok for us, and it's going well. I don't really understand TikTok. I do find it intimidating. If you're out there on TikTok, go and subscribe to Beautiful Anonymous. Add us into your algorithm. Really helps. And it's so cool because what we're doing is we're taking old episodes, and Devin's finding stories that can be standalone stories, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, things in that TikTok range. And it's wild to see him go deep into our back catalog. And he's listening through episodes, grabbing his favorite stories, and then he's setting them to video and putting them up on TikTok. And I'm watching this whole new audience start to react. The two that have really blown up so far are a call from someone who left Mormonism, and the infamous call from the monogamous animals, from the person who said that they had been a sex worker who was hired by a United States senator. And that one is setting TikTok ablaze, as you might imagine. But it's wild to see all these stories that have been existing in my world and the world of this show's community for years now. All of a sudden, a new audience is finding them and reacting to them, and it's quite lovely and it's quite cool. If you want to go follow us, we are at beautiful.anonymous, and you'll find all those little best of clips floating out there. And it's cool to revisit the show in this new way. Anyway, this week's call, one of the things that blows my mind the most about it is you'll hear in the beginning, why did Chris say this one teaches us to be grateful? It's just a guy delivering Uber Eats. And that is what it is. And I think the whole call is a guy driving around as he delivers Uber Eats. But guess what? Your Uber Eats delivery person might have some stories that would blow your mind. Just like the person scanning the groceries at the supermarket might blow your mind, or the other person in a business meeting who you barely know, but they're there on the same day as you, and you just walk in and do your stuff, and they leave. They might have some stories that blow your mind. You don't know who's out there, what they've dealt with, what they've been through. And our caller tells us, first of all, about his upbringing, and then second of all, about a series of events that I think a lot of us would say any one of those would stop a lot of people in their tracks. But he also goes on to explain why they have it and how they have it and why it feels important to him that they have it. And I find that very inspiring. It's the exact type of call I've always loved with this show, because it starts one way, it ends another, and along the way, I feel like there's a few things that made me just kind of reconsider my whole approach to how I go out there day by day. I feel really thankful that I got to hear it, although I do feel an amazing amount of compassion for our caller who's been through so much. Anyway, I've now teased it enough. Let's get into it. Enjoy the call, everybody. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello?
Hello?
How's it going?
Hello?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Chris, how you doing?
I'm good. We had some technical difficulties, and it just turned out I had to turn my volume up. But now we're good.
Okay. Now you're louder. I love it. This is great. Man, this is like, I always make fun of the people who say they're nervous when they're on this podcast, but now I am incredibly nervous.
Oh, there's no need to be nervous.
Like my wife and I joke all the time that you're the thing that turned the last little bit of the office around for us, man.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I do hear that people don't like season 9, but then I also have people telling me I'm one of their favorite like one-off characters, and I don't know how those things add up.
Oh gosh, when you have the lead pipe in the sub, and you're like gonna kneecap Oscar. Spoiler alert! It's the best thing on the planet. I love that scene so much.
Thanks so much. I was super psyched to be a part of The Office, a small part of an iconic show. I will say sometimes I get confused because I'll be just like at a restaurant. Somebody will walk by and be like, "Don't hit me with a pipe." And I don't like it was one day of work in my life, 1 or 2 days. And then people say that and I'm like, "Wait, are you trying to fight me or something?" And then I remember, "Oh no, they're just referencing," or somebody like a moving car will come by and just go like, "Trevor forever." And I'm like, "What? What is this strange life I signed up for?"
But I mean, how great that you got to be good friends with White Truth. Like, I mean, that's the best.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I can't lie about it. It's nice. It's nice to be a part of a thing that people care about. It's cool.
I love that.
Now, how are you?
I mean, I got a lot that we can talk about. Oh, good, man. Life is good. I'm Uber driving. Haven't done that in a long time, but I just recently started back a couple months ago. And doing that thing, and I saw the post go out, and I was like, I want to get on that show. So here I am. Greatest day ever so far because I get to be on the show.
That's awesome. So wait, you're currently looking for shifts? You're currently looking for rides?
I am currently in a car. I'm not doing any new trips. I have canceled the trips. I am delivering people 2 different orders of food. I've got some pizza place. I think it's wings or pasta or something. And then I'm delivering something from some bakery, and then I'm going to wrap it up and just chat with you the rest of the time.
So do you already have the pizza and the baked goods in your car, or you have to go to a pizzeria and bakery while talking to me because you're currently delivering Uber Eats?
I already have them in the car.
So now you're just rushing.
I already have them in the car.
You're rushing these pizzas and these donuts all over town.
I sure am. I'm 9 minutes away from my little stop here.
Well, I hope I don't cost you any tips, and I hope I don't cost you any fares.
Here's the thing. You will not. It has been a great day. It's busy in this market, so I'll have no trouble making that back. And this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, So this is worth it.
I'm into it. So do you mostly just do deliveries, or do you also pick up people?
I actually prefer picking up people. I love just like hanging out with people and talking to people. It was really funny. I did this in a different city a long time ago and had come up with an idea to do a podcast similar to yours with riders in the car. And Uber loved the idea, wanted to do it, and then I stopped driving Uber and changed my mind on doing it. But it was an idea I had because I have some of the zaniest conversations in this car.
I would love that show.
Wouldn't that be a great podcast?
It would. You got to get back on it now.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm looking to do something a little more like, I don't know. I don't want to put a bunch of miles on my car for the rest of my life,
Yeah, I hear you. I know people are out there and people have their sole income through Uber. A lot of people supplement their income through Uber. But I also know it's a lot of, like you said, that's a lot of wear and tear on your car. That's a lot of physical pain on people's backs. That's a lot of, you've also heard, I think they've gotten a lot better, but in the early days of Uber, you weren't allowed to tip the driver. And a lot of the drivers said that it was really squeezing them. But I do believe that's gotten better. But I know there was a real big PR push to kind of expose all that. So it's not easy. It's not easy.
No, it's not. It requires, I tell my wife all the time, I'm like driving an 8-hour, 9-hour, 10-hour road trip every single day.
Yeah, that'll take it out of you. Let alone the fact that people probably want to
Sure.
push your limits. They want to get in your car all drunk. They want to try to hook up in the back seat. What type of stuff are we talking?
Oh gosh, I have had someone drunk get in my car. They tried to get in with an actual like glass of beer in their hand. And when I told them they couldn't have that, they started calling me racist and telling me that the only reason I wouldn't let them have their alcohol is because of their skin color, and that was it. And they ended up rating me really badly. Thankfully, my reviews are pretty high. So Uber I just called customer support, explained what happened, and they removed that review from my account. But that was crazy. I've never had anyone hook up in my there to my knowledge. When we're driving late at night, sometimes you don't know what's happening. But, not that I'm aware of. But yeah, there's one thing that happened in this city. I used to drive in a big city in the southern part of America. And I had this guy in my car. He was a really nice guy. We were chatting, and we were just clicking really well. And got a request for another trip because, he was doing an Uber share. And so I drove and got this other guy. And this guy looked kind of disheveled, dirty, not very clean. But he had this like cardboard box in his hand. I thought he was homeless at first, but then like he had a smartphone, so maybe not. But he got in the car, he got in the front seat, and this other guy was in the back seat. And we're driving, and I go back to talking to that guy in the back seat again. And the guy in the front seat holding the box isn't saying a word. He's just keeping very quiet, very to himself. And the guy in the back seat goes, "Hey, bro, as long as we're riding together, I got to know, like, what's in the box." And the guy says, "None of your damn business." And so instantly me and the guy in the back seat are like making eyes in the rearview mirror, like, what the heck is happening? And we start driving down the road a little bit more. And the guy in the back seat, he's like, "Man, I'm like really uncomfortable. Just tell me what's in the box. I got to know." And the guy again just grips the box and he goes, "None of your damn business." So at this point, I'm nervous. We're driving towards a pretty full part of this city. And I'm like, I have no idea what's about to happen. Am I carrying this guy who's got like a bomb in the box or something? Like, what the heck is happening? And I'm like, "Hey, listen, I'm driving the car. You got to tell me what's in the box, or I'm going to pull over and let you out." And he starts like shaking back and forth, like in his seat. And he is screaming and yelling at the top of his lungs. And I am freaking out. So I floor it because I'm on the interstate. And I am laying on my horn, trying to get an officer to see us and pull us over. And finally, an officer sees us, pulls us over. And as soon as we get stopped on the side of the road, this guy throws the door open, drops his box in the floorboard of my car, and runs into the woods. And the officers never see him again. He's never been found, even to this day. Just left his box, left everything, and just ran off into the woods. It was one of the scariest things I've ever been through.
What was in the box?
None of your damn business.
Was that all a joke?
It was all a joke.
None of that shit happened?
Well, the first bit of it happened, but then the crazy man with the box didn't happen.
Well done. Well done. Pulled one over on me.
Thank you, sir.
How many times have you used that Uber joke on people? Is that a popular joke amongst Uber driving? Amongst the drivers of Uber?
So I don't know how many other drivers use that joke, but I have used that joke a handful of times because everyone wants to know your craziest story. And honestly, like, I only have a couple, and they're really not that bad. Like, I've got friends that drive Uber who have been held up at knife point for their cash tips. That's never happened to me. Nothing crazy interesting has ever really happened. I did have a guy riding my car who I'm pretty sure was demon possessed. His voice changed about 4 or 5 times between the place I picked him up and the place I dropped him off. Oh, I think he had a few personalities on hand. We'll put it that way. Because literally he changed everything about who he was, his voice, his personality, everything within the course of like 5 minutes, probably 3 or 4 times. It was insane. That's one of the weirder ones that's happened to me.
That is wild. That is wild.
It's nuts, man.
And so at some point you are going to have to tell me, hey, I have to pause the conversation so I can go drop off this order. So just do that whenever you need to.
I mean, I'm planning to take you with me, but yeah,
I'll
let you know when we're doing that.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
I don't want to leave you with dead air.
I love that you're calling while driving. I love that you are mid-shift, mid-delivery. I love that you got stories of demon-possessed individuals. I don't know if you wanted to talk about driving your whole call with me today, or if you wanted to go in other directions, but let me know, because we could fill an hour with stories like this.
We sure could. And I mean, I can talk about anything. Like, I mean, I've gone through a pretty gnarly divorce that was fun. I have, I guess fun's the wrong word. I just had to leave my job because I was told to leave, or they were going to let me leave in a roundabout way. So, I mean, we can talk about a lot of different things.
Yeah, that all sounds rough. Job situation. I have to imagine this is why you started picking up shifts in the car again.
That is why, while I'm looking for whatever's next, I just was like, I want to pick up something that, A, that I've done before, B, I can kind of control how much money I make, but C, I don't have to turn in notice whenever I find my next opportunity. I can just not log on anymore and be done with it. So that's why I'm here.
What was the job you left? What's your industry when you're not driving?
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to say it without giving away too much, but I work in churches. We'll say that.
In church? You got fired from church?
I got fired. I didn't get fired. I quit, but I was going to get fired if I didn't quit from church.
Listen, I know I grew up Catholic, and there's people who say this podcast is anti-Catholic at times, but I will make the joke. They let you get away with a lot at churches. Speaking as a Catholic, it takes a lot to get fired. We've all heard the stories.
It does.
What was going on at the church?
But nothing bad happened.
That's good.
I honestly just think I didn't fit my leader, my boss. I didn't fit his idea of what he wanted his team to look like. Nothing bad happened. I didn't do anything illegal. I didn't do anything egregious. I just wasn't a fit anymore, was what I was told. So had to make a decision of either trying to become a fit and seeing what happened and being let go without giving any more notice than, hey, don't come in tomorrow, or decide to leave on my own and get a nice little package if I did that. So that's what I chose to do.
Now, this also reframes it before, knowing that you are a religious person. When you say that you felt there was someone possessed by a demon in your car, this is not something that you say colloquially. You might have meant, I think.
To a degree.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know much about that world, but I was raised Pentecostal, which is uber weird Christians. And if my parents ever hear this, they're going to be super offended about it. So we're going to hope that they don't hear that. They don't listen to this podcast. We'll try to keep it that way. But I always tell people I'm a recovering Pentecostal. I still believe in Jesus. I've deconstructed my own little things, but, while I believe that kind of stuff can happen, I don't think it's as common as some people like to think that it is. So I say it more in jest than in reality.
That's fair. So when I would toss around the person in the back of my car, I think they might have been possessed by a demon. I mean that on one level. When you were growing up, that would have meant one thing, and now you land somewhere in the middle as far as how much you actually believe that they were possessed by a demon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I got the range of it. How long had you been at the church?
I had been there for right at 3 years.
That's a bummer. And are you looking to get back
All right,
into
I'm
the
going to
world?
hop out and give this.
Yeah, go. Do it.
Let me give this lady her food. I'll be right back.
Yeah, take your time. Uber weird. Driving an Uber. You said Uber weird. Andrea clocked that. actual audio of a car in park, everybody. Actual audio.
All right, I'm back. Hopefully you didn't have to fill too much time.
Very quick. You just you drop it out front? You drop it out front, take the picture?
She actually met me at the door, which was nice.
Oh, she did. She did.
Yeah, so we could have chatted with her if we wanted to.
Is that the usual experience these days, or are most people leave it at the front door? People.
Most people are leaving at the front door, but every now and then you run into someone who wants you to hand it to them.
Yeah, that's fair.
But what's funny, she told me she was sick as I was putting it in her hand, and I'm like, I could have left this at your door, and we wouldn't have had a problem.
Yeah, I hope you don't get sick.
Me either. That'd be great. But to answer your question, yes, I do hope that I can get back into what I was doing before, just with a different place. The place that I was working at is very well known in the Christian community, even a little bit outside of it, and just very, very well known. And it was kind of like peak of your career kind of thing. And I just didn't enjoy how high performance it was, how high driven it was, just more wanted to, like, I don't know, hang out with people and hear their story and try to give them some hope and some encouragement. And that's more what I wanted to do. And that just wasn't as focused on where I was. Not that it's not focused on, but definitely being the best of the best was the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's intense. I didn't realize. I guess I do fundamentally understand this, but to realize that there are churches that are kind of the crown jewel, oh, if you could work there, that it is an industry. And in the same way that, somebody who works in whatever, pharmaceuticals might want to work at Johnson & Johnson someday. Like maybe that's the crown jewel. Or somebody who's a lawyer might want to work for the Southern District of New York. There's a ladder to climb. And that there's certain churches that if you get there, that's a status thing and that's an accomplishment thing. That's never occurred to me before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I don't know that I'm going to, having experienced what I've experienced, I don't know that I'm going to try to work at a church like that ever again. Like I've interviewed at several places and I've gotten a few offers and have turned all of them down. I'm supposed to get an offer today that I don't plan to turn down. So I'm excited about that.
Whoa.
But I'm definitely not looking for churches that are as performance driven, as numbers driven, more just like, man, they're growing, they're experiencing a lot of cool things, but they really care about people a lot. And that's what drives them. That's more what I'm looking for.
And when you say you're going to get an offer today, is that going to come in the form of an email, of a phone call? Is there a chance you'll put us on call waiting at some point and then flip back over and tell us whether you did or did not get the job?
Zero chance. They've already told me that they're going to send it via email. But if I get it while I'm on the phone with you, I will be more than happy to tell you that I got it.
We're gonna have to make sure before the end of the call that we let you refresh that old email inbox.
Absolutely. It's a tough thing because like you almost look at what you want to do with these goggles that make everything look wonderful, and you find things that you don't necessarily like that you're like, I can look past it because I'm getting to work here. It's not a big deal because I'm getting to do this. And then one day you wake up and you realize that all of those things that you said weren't a big deal were actually a really big deal and mattered a whole lot to you. And I think that's part of the reason why I was no longer a fit for my team, is just because I was feeling really empty. I felt like I was running a race against other people versus doing what I felt like I was supposed to do with my life, and just didn't want to do that anymore. So it kind of was one of those things where if I wouldn't have been told what I was told, I probably would still be working there and wondering why I have anxiety when I go to work in the morning, wondering why I don't look forward to Sundays anymore, like all of that kind of stuff. I think that me leaving was ultimately a really, really good thing for me.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a divorce as the other big topic. Let's just get it out there. How long were you married?
Yeah.
You said it was a gnarly divorce, I believe was the word you used. What made it gnarly?
was. So we knew each other for, I'm going to say less than 4 months when we got married, which is stupid. I met her online, and it was super great at first. She's from near where you're from, so I try not to hold that against you. But I ended up moving her to where I was living because she was like, you know, things were bad between her and her parents, and she was like, man, if I can just live where you live, things will get better. And so I was like, great, let's move you down here and let's make things better. So I found a place for her to live, got her moved down here. And it was just constant fighting all of the time. And she was like, if we get married, things will get better. And I was like, okay, let's do that then. Let's make things better. And man, it was still just bad. It was so bad. And it took years of counseling and after the marriage and during the marriage to realize that I was actually in a verbally abusive situation. I had no idea. I thought I was just this awful person who deserved to be talked to the way that I was being talked to. I was working at a church at the time, and as I felt things kind of imploding and really felt like I was this awful human being, I quit my job and was like, I'm not going to do this anymore because I don't deserve to do it anymore. The pastor I was working for tried to talk me out of it. He had been a part of the whole thing, and he was like, don't do this. And I was like, nope, I need to quit this job because I don't deserve to be here. And I quit. And then a few months later, we went through not fun divorce where, we were both raised in fundamentalist households where if you got a divorce, it was this awful, sinful thing where you were this really bad human being, which kind of made me feel really trapped in a marriage I didn't really want to be in to begin with. And she had told me that she would not be the one to file, but she would make my life living hell until I filed because I needed to be the person who left, is what she said. And so I just kind of got tired of dealing with it. I filed, and now we're kind of where we are.
How long were you married for?
Just at 3 years. And we spent 2 years in marriage counseling. So it was not fun.
Knew each other. Oh, was someone honking at you?
No, someone's honking at someone else. There's someone stopped in the middle of the road.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. I was worried that we were getting to an emotional part and you were getting distracted while driving, and I did not want that.
Nope. You're good.
Good. So you knew each other less than 4 months, got married. It went bad within the first year, tried to stick it out for 3 years.
That's correct. Yep.
And how long have you been divorced now?
6 years.
6 years. Oh, okay.
All right. I'm going to run this last order and then we'll finish.
Ask them if they know the Beautiful Anonymous podcast.
I'll ask for sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's a cliffhanger right there. Will the random person who ordered baked goods today know about Beautiful Anonymous? We'll find out that and so much more when we get back. This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack sponsor. And I have to tell you guys, I love IQ Bar products. When I tell you that I have a mint chocolate IQ Bar for breakfast 6 days a week, that is no exaggeration. The perfect way to kick off the day with something healthy, something that tastes good, something that is just nailing it. And I have said it time and time again. All of the products are good, by the way. The IQ Mix is really good. I keep it in my bag with me. My wife, you will not find somebody who likes IQ Joe coffee sticks more than my wife, Hallie. She literally does a little dance in our kitchen every time she preps one of them. It's an incredible product. IQ Joe is a jitter-free coffee. It has natural caffeine, boosts focus and mood with magnesium and lion's mane blend. The IQ bars, like I said, that's my go-to in the morning. Satisfies hunger, no sugar rush, no sugar crash. Easy to throw into a bag, a suitcase, a gym bag, carry-on, perfect for flying. And also the IQ Mix for hydration, it's really great. I carry those with me when I travel all the time because all those pressure shifts get messed with me. You can't get as much water as you need in any given day. I love the IQ Mix. It has 3 times as many electrolytes as sports drinks. Plus, it's great for pre-workout, morning hydration, hangovers if you're a drinker, and more. Start the new year off right with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their ultimate sampler pack includes all 3. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners an exclusive deal, 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus get free shipping. The ultimate sampler pack is a great way to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 7 IQ Bars, 4 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. IQ Bar makes the #1 brain and body nutrition bar, hydration mix, and instant coffee in the United States. The IQ Bar is free of gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, artificial sweeteners, okay? Snack smarter with IQ Bar. There's a lot of fiber in there, less sugar in there. All the flavors are great. I've mentioned the mint chocolate chip. I love that so much. The lemon blueberry, I'm a little bit addicted to, but they're all good. IQ Mix is absolutely no joke. The lemon lime is my favorite. I also love the blueberry pomegranate. And the IQ Joe has original black, vanilla spice, cafe mocha, and toasted hazelnut. And it literally makes my wife dance in our kitchen. That's how good it is. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus get free shipping. To get your 20% off, just text beautiful to 64,000. That's the word beautiful to 64000. That's beautiful to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. It's the new year, so you have a new chance to reimagine yourself, okay? To rethink your presentation and, importantly, your closet. And I have to tell you, Quince is no joke. Quince is out here throwing down with high-quality products. Just this morning, I folded my charcoal Quince sweater and I placed it on the edge of the bed up in my office / guest room because I want to wear it soon because I said, I know I need to look good. I'm going to rock out with this Quince sweater. So I'm going to make sure that I look good. It's the way to start the new year with Quince. Everyone needs Quince's Mongolian cashmere sweaters. Okay, they start at $60. If you want to look good, you got to get one of these sweaters. There's no better workout motivation than some new active wear. The performance tees and tech shorts from Quince, those are perfect for any movement. However you choose to refresh yourself this year, all Quince pieces are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Let's talk about how they're able to do that, because this is the part that I really love. They partner directly with top factories. That cuts out all the middleman costs. Those savings get passed on to you. And speaking of those factories, they only work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. That is super important. Talk a lot about it, but where you spend your money is one of the simplest ways to draw some lines about how you want the world to be. And Quince is out here doing things in an ethical way, and I love that. And of course, they use premium fabrics and finishes for that luxury feel in every piece. I have talked about my gray Quince sweater endlessly on the show. The charcoal one may have overtaken it as my favorite, but it's also newer and therefore might be the flashier one in my eyes. Anyway, point being, everything I get from Quince, I love. They really do have high quality stuff at a really affordable price, and I think you will love it too. Upgrade your closet this year without the upgraded price tag. Go to quince.com/beautiful for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/beautiful. You'll get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/beautiful. Thanks to all of our advertisers. Now let's get back to the phone call. Ask them if they know the Beautiful Anonymous podcast.
I'll ask for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. If they're like, I stopped listening in 2018, that would kind of be on brand. This is... Andrew points out that this type of audio right here, where there's silence, this is how we get all the people who used to listen to come back to the fold. It's just me talking into a void. Oh, you're saying one Uber driver at a time. We only do calls with... Yes, okay, hi.
She has no idea what the Beautiful Anonymous podcast was.
I get that a lot. That's fair. That's fair. So you...
But I told her, and hopefully she'll listen.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks so much. No, we're going to start only having calls with Uber drivers and then just pay them to drive around telling people about the show. I think that would be a good...
Hey, I'm in.
I would love it. So you were all together with this person for a little more than 3 years. You've been divorced for 6 years. So it's now close to twice the amount of time without this person in your life than was in it, let alone all the time that led up to that. But still going through that, let alone the fact that you've referred to it as abusive, that's not easy to shake off the effects of that.
No, and it took me a long time to come to terms with it being abusive because, like I said, I felt like I deserved what was being said to me because the trick was that, you know, when you're with someone you love, like, you know how this is, you share the things that scare you, the things that freak you out, the insecurities you have, because this is someone you can trust, you know? And when we would fight, she would pull those insecurities out and be like, hey, you know, people talk bad about you when you're not around. Hey, you know, people make fun of you when you're not in the room. Because, like, I would say, like, oh, I had a really good day, so-and-so and I chatted. And she's like, yeah, I've talked with so-and-so. They actually hate you. And I'm like, oh, good to know. You know, I ended up ending my friendship with my best friend who I had known for 10 years at that point because he hated her. And she was like, you should pick me over him because I'm your wife. And I did that. Thankfully, he and I are best friends again today, which is awesome. But, yeah, I got really isolated and I went from being this like loud, hyperactive person to this quiet shell of a human being who thought everyone hated him and didn't know how to make his life better.
Wow. What's that when you call that best friend back and that 10 years have fallen apart and you've chosen her? What's it like to pick up the phone and say, hey, so we're breaking up. We're getting divorced.
It was a real moment of healing for me because I called him and I was like, we were separated at the time. And I just had this conversation with her about like, because how long it needed to be. And that was when she told me like it was going to be until I divorced her because she didn't want to be the one to pull the trigger. And so I was living on a friend of mine's couch. And I was like, I'm going to get a place to live. And I called my friend who managed apartments at the time. And I was like, bro, I need a spot to live, and told him kind of what was happening. And he said, tell me where you are and I'll come pick you up and pick up your stuff and we'll get you into one of our apartments today. And that's literally what happened. So he just stepped right back into the picture as if nothing had happened, as if no time had faded. And, took me out to dinner that night and just like made sure I was okay. It was the best. So just having him jump right back in, and there was no like, I told him profusely that I was an idiot and that I was so sorry. And he just kept saying like, you don't have to say that. Like, you don't have to say that. And that was a game changer for me. It was the first person that told me in a long time, like, the things she's saying about you are not true. People actually do love you a whole lot. And it was super cool that he got to be that person and that he had so much forgiveness for me, because like, I remember being like, bro, the way you've talked to my wife, I'm not going to put up with it. The things you've said, I'm not going to deal with that. Like, she doesn't deserve that. And I remember full on having those conversations where I didn't just end the friendship. I made him the bad guy. And for him to just be able to flip that switch so easily just meant a lot.
That's almost, I mean, it's not a pissing contest of comparing them, but that's almost as intense as some of the divorce conversations.
Yeah.
That moment when you pick up that phone and ask for a favor from this person who feels burned, and then they step right up and knock it out of the park taking care of you.
Yeah.
That's gotta
Yeah.
That's like, take a deep breath and let out some tears.
Yeah. I definitely did. And he's, I'll never forget, and I'm going to do my best not to cry. I'm a 4 on the Enneagram. If you know what that means we cry a lot. So I'm going to try not to cry. But I remember we were playing this game, and we were playing online together. He was in the apartment beneath me, and I was in the apartment above him. And it was probably 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and she called me out of the blue. And I don't know if she was drunk or what the deal was, but it was basically just to lay into me for like a solid 15 minutes about how awful I was. My character had died. I was waiting for a new round, so it wasn't a big deal. And I just sat there getting berated. And then I remember getting back on the headset in literal tears and saying, I just don't understand why she has to be so mean to me. And he said, hey, can I put you on hold real quick? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And he typically would make like a good night tea. So I assumed that was what was happening. And then the next thing I know, I hear a knock at the door, and I open the door, and it's him. And he had just let his character just get shot and die in this game. And then he just hugged me for a good like 5-10 minutes. And we just talked the rest of the night about like how I was doing, how I was feeling, how I know the things she's saying are true, and all of this. Like, he has been the best friend I could have ever asked for in the entire world. And I don't deserve to have a friendship like that, because he's the best. He's the absolute best.
I bet he would only be mad at the part where you said, I don't deserve to have a friendship like that. My guess is that part would piss him off.
You're probably right. You're probably right. Knowing him, he would probably feel that way.
And when you're in a marriage that goes as south as yours did, as far as the way you're being spoken to, the way things are between the two of you, I mean, it's been 6 years. I imagine you've started dating again?
Yeah, I'm actually remarried, which is the best. I don't want to skip over all of the stories. So about a year after my divorce, that's whenever I met my now wife, who, outside of my best friend, bro, she's the best person on the whole planet. Like, she is, like, if there is such thing as an angel being on earth, it is this woman. Like, she is, I'll tell you some of the reasons why in a minute. But I was about a year removed from my divorce, and I lost my 11-year-old nephew to suicide. And
no.
I had just started dating this girl. We had dated for probably 4 days when my nephew died. And
and 11 years old?
I remember at 11 years old. So he had this chronic illness that made him feel basically like arthritic pain anytime he did anything like play or anything that caused him to basically break a sweat. He would be in pain for days afterwards. And he just got to the point that he couldn't deal with it anymore and took his own life. And I got the call probably actually my best friend is the one that told me, because I was asleep for work the next morning. And my best friend came into my room, and he's like, hey, your nephew shot himself. And I was like, huh? And he said, yeah, like, your nephew shot himself, and he's alive right now, but you just need to go home. And I lived really far from home, like several hours from home. And I called my mom, and my mom was like, just come home. And I was like, is he okay? Just tell me if he's okay. And she said, just come home. And I knew I knew what that meant. And, but I didn't want to believe it. I believed he was going to be fine, that everything was okay. And I had taken a sleeping pill for work, so I had to sleep that off. And then I got up the next morning and immediately called the girl I was dating, my now wife, and told her what was going on. And I had probably a 4 or 5 hour trip home, and she called me 4 or 5 times just to check in and be like, how you doing? How you feeling? What are you thinking? You know, she would pray with me and do all of these amazing things. And it was just so nice to have her, because like I would be driving home and I would think about something that me and my nephew shared, because we were really close. And I would think about something and just start dying in the middle of this road driving home. And it would always be right about then that she would call me. And she would bring a little bit of centeredness, a little bit of peace. And I just don't know if I could have gotten through that moment without her. Because even like while I hung out for the funeral, like she would call me a couple of times a day to check in, see how I was feeling, see what I was thinking. And it was it was just so life-giving to me to go from feeling like the woman that I cared about hated me to now there's this new woman who cares so much about me that she is constantly checking in during one of the hardest things and just reminding me about how okay the situation's going to be, that, you know, like it's okay. Like there is life after this. And, you know, asking me questions about my nephew, like asking me to tell stories about him and telling me how much he sounds like he was this cool little kid and how much he must have looked up to me. And to go from what I had before to what I had been was just, it was incredible. It was really, really incredible.
How old are you now?
I'm in my mid-30s.
You've been through a hell of a lot. Yeah,
that's what my counselor told me. I lost my dad at 16 as well. So, yeah, I've been through a whole lot.
Can I ask how your dad passed?
Yeah. This one will be harder for me to not cry in, but I'm going to do my best. My dad was an abusive alcoholic my whole life, but he was the kindest, gentlest man when he was sober. Like he was like, just everyone went to him for everything. Like he was knowledgeable. He was wise. People wanted to hear from him when he had when they had a question. He was a construction builder. So he built like houses and stuff for people. And people always would be like, man, I got to get so-and-so on the phone to ask his opinion on this thing I'm trying to do at home. And I was just so proud of who my dad was. And he had gone off to rehab a couple of times and it never really stuck. And he had been sober for several years. And then I actually remember calling him, and you're probably the third person that I've talked about this with. I remember calling him when he was at rehab for the last time, and I told him that he wasn't my father, that I wanted nothing to do with him because he had not sent me a birthday card. And it just really pissed me off because I was really looking forward to hearing from my dad. And I had not spoken to him in over a year. And I was like, man, I'm looking forward to this birthday card. I know I'm going to get one. And then I didn't get one. And I called him and I said, you're not my father. You have made no effort to be my father. I want nothing to do with you. I hope you get better, but I want nothing to do with you. And got off the phone. That was the last time I spoke to him. And about a year later, I get a phone call from my grandmother who says, your daddy's dead. I was like, okay, what does that mean? And she said that he had received a letter from my older sister basically saying what I said to him. Except in the letter, she had said, you still have a chance with your son. He was young enough that he doesn't know what you put our family through. But as far as I'm concerned, you're not my father. And shortly after he received that letter was when I called him and told him I wanted nothing to do with him, that he was not my father. And that basically he could kick rocks and go find his own life. And my grandma said he started drinking again, and his body just couldn't take it this time. He ended up going into seizures and went into a coma, and they could never wake him up. And that was how he passed. So it was pretty tragic for me because I blamed it on myself for a long time, that my dad started drinking because I took his last shred of hope from him. And yeah, that was hard to go through.
Have you ever spoken with your sister about that?
No, my sister doesn't forgive quite as easily as I do. So like I've gone through stuff with my divorce, and I chose some things to medicate myself to make me feel better going through that wasn't healthy. And realized that gave me a lot of grace for my dad to realize that my dad chose alcohol as a form of medication because he didn't know what to do to make himself feel better. And it caused me to see him very differently. And she does not like that I see him so differently now, that I see him as this guy who is just incredibly broken, who hated the decisions that he made, but didn't know what else to do. And I also think that she would not be as open to that conversation of me, because I don't know that she wrote that letter, according to her. Like, I have no idea that letter exists. And I don't think she would want me to know that that letter exists, or know that I feel the way that I feel because of that letter having existed, and how it created the moment that it created.
It's pretty wild to me that at the beginning I was like, oh, driving Uber, delivering Uber Eats drop-offs. This one should be fun. And as we pull back the curtain more and more, I mean,
it still can be fun.
It can be. But I'm not in any way trying to make you feel bad about that. But more saying, I'm like, you don't realize, and it's in some ways, it's such a good reminder for all of us of there's probably people who get in a car with you and you drop them off 7 minutes later, and you all don't say much to each other, and then you say, "Thanks, have a good day" at the end. And both of those people might have lived through some real shit. And we have to slow down and figure out how to lean on each other.
Chris, that's why I ask for people's stories. Like, I don't just shoot the breeze with them and ask them like these stupid small questions. And I think that that's part of the reason why I wanted to create that podcast so bad, was because like, I have found that me sharing my story has given hope to so many people. Like, I can't tell you the amount of time that I have, like, because, you know, when you work at a church, people think life is put and you got it all together and there are no issues. And then when they're like trying to tell you their deepest, darkest secrets, and they think there's no way you can possibly understand, and that you're going to judge them and tell them that they're this awful human being, and then you get to go, yeah, I've actually been in a similar spot, and let me tell you how my life is different today. You know, like, I get to provide that for people, and they get to go, oh, I'm not this crazy person who all this bad stuff happens to because I'm irrevocably broken. Instead, they get to go like, sometimes life just sucks a little bit, but it doesn't suck always. It does get better. Things do get better.
How do you get to that point where you believe that? Because you've mentioned this really awful sounding marriage and divorce, this situation with your dad, really horrible. And one of these things where I know there's probably any number of people in your life, whether it's friends, whether it's counselors, who have said like, no, it's not your fault. But it's also one of those situations that we all run into where you go, intellectually, I can understand that, but emotionally there's going to be points where it flares back up. And I wonder, and to hear you tell the story of your dad's passing, and then that quickly after that, say that you enjoy being someone who can remind people it gets better. Wondering what led you to believe that? Because there have to have been some stretches of your life where you have firmly not believed that it was going to get better. Let's pause there. This weirdly optimistic episode of Beautiful Anonymous, even as we hear about so many things that would stop a lot of us in our tracks. I want to know more. We're going to learn more when we get back. 2025 is here, and Mint Mobile has a resolution for you. Skip the gym, skip the fad diets, skip the BS resolutions you'll forget about by next month. Instead, make a resolution to save some serious cash by making the switch to Mint Mobile. And right now, you can get half off their 3-month unlimited plan. That is no joke. I know I am not the only one out here that knows that feeling that you get these random mysterious bills from your wireless companies going. It varies so wildly every month. I use it the same way every time. Mint Mobile is out here slicing through the nonsense and just giving it to you straight. It's time to leave your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, unexpected overages, and all that other nonsense behind in 2024. 2025 is about Mint Mobile, who's dropping huge savings for the new year by offering any 3-month plan for only $15 a month, even their unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your current phone and your number. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile. It's so easy. Sign up online and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. Switch to Mint, and new customers can get half off of an unlimited plan until February 2nd. To get your wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/beautiful. That's mintmobile.com/beautiful. $45 upfront payment required, which is equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. I have been loving my experience with Pros. I'm so happy to finally be able to tell you about Pros, who has got me hooked on their stuff in a way that I never saw coming, honestly. But Pros has been blowing me away. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you're somebody who, first of all, I'm very susceptible to sun, to wind, to all sorts of things that affect your skin, let alone the stress of 2024. That can do a number on your hair and your skin. I will tell you that being a pale gentleman like myself, I have not cared for my skin over the years as much as I have, and a dermatologist told me to get to work, and Pros has been helping me do so. This new year, skip the resolutions, go straight to results with custom beauty formulas from Pros. It's 2025. You deserve better than impersonal beauty. I'll tell you, I went to Pros, went to their website. It asked me a series of questions about my current skincare routine, which was largely non-existent in my case. Talked to me about problems that I have, dry skin, all sorts of things that I was able to flag question by question. And what it did was it immediately turned around and said, we're going to build products with these formulas for you. Here's the things you need for the specific things you have flagged. And I went, this is simpler than I thought and makes me feel like it's taking all the hard work out of my hands and making this a very simple process. And I will tell you, my wife has been really proud of me as I use my personalized face wash and serum and moisturizer every day now. And I feel like it's actually on target and it's working. Pros makes beauty personal, truly custom hair care and skincare formulas that couldn't exist without you. Each and every bottle is made to order based on an in-depth consultation that covers everything from your beauty goals to the weather and water where you live. From millions of possible formulas, only one is uniquely yours. And Pros only uses naturally powerful and proven effective ingredients, selecting from over 185 clean ingredients to target your specific concerns and goals. See your healthiest hair in just 4 weeks, backed by more than 500,000 5-star product reviews and a clinical study that proves personalization works better. And with the Pros promise, if you don't love your first order, it's on Pros. So there's never been a better time to switch to custom. Pros is so confident that you'll love your results this year that they're offering an exclusive trial offer. 50% off your first hair care subscription order at pros.com/beautiful. That's PROSE.com/beautiful. Get a free consultation and 50% off your custom routine. It's a steal right there. Pros.com/beautiful. Thanks again to all of our advertisers. Now let's finish off the phone call. There have to have been some stretches of your life where you have firmly not believed that it was going to get better.
Yes and no. I think for me, this is causing some emotion. I'm trying to not let it. But I think for me, it's this undeniable belief that it just has to. Like, it cannot be this bad always. You know, like whenever I was in that season of losing my nephew, losing my marriage, Chris, I asked God on the floor of my living room in that apartment. I was like, what did I do to piss you off? Like, what did I do that you would take all of this from me? Like, I blamed the loss of my nephew on something I must have done that I'm not aware of. I blamed the loss of my marriage on me. It was my fault at the time. Like, I fully believed, and granted, I was no picnic. I was no walk in the park. Like, I didn't do what I should have done in some instances, but like, I remember asking that, and I'm trying not to go too churchy on you. But there's a story in the Bible about a guy who had everything in his life taken from him. And his friends are telling him, like, bro, it's because you're this awful human being that all this has happened. There's some secret sin that you've not confessed to God that he's taken all of this from you. And his response is, no, there's got to be some sort of mistake. And he says, even though he slay me, I will trust him. What other hope do I have? And that verse got me through so much, and still gets me through so much, knowing that, like, that's the only hope that I have, is that it has to get better. That there is something out there bigger than me that cares about my life and cares about the things that are happening. And just like with all the lows that I've had so many highs that make those lows feel like nothing. That I look back at them and, man, I would never relive them again. And I've said this countless times as I counsel people going through their own stuff. And I say, like, I would never relive them again, but I would never avoid them if I had to do this life over again. Like, I wouldn't trade what I've taken from those things. I tell my wife all the time, when we first started dating or when we got engaged, she would say, I wish you didn't have to go through that. And I said, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't love you as good as I do today. Because I know what living with hell feels like. I now can fully appreciate the woman that you are and the good things that you bring to our relationship. Like, I get to appreciate that and love that differently because I know what bad feels like. And I've seen that play out so many different times in my life that it's insane. Just encouraging the men who I surround myself with and explain to them, like, the men that got me through were the men that my mom put me around whenever I didn't have my dad in the picture. And I'm like, you can be that for other people. What those men were for me that used to pick me up and take me to their house and we would go ride on a go-kart, like, and just shoot the breeze and act like nothing else mattered. Like, you can be that for someone else who also doesn't have a dad. And that can change their entire world, just like those men did for me. So, like, I have seen the bad things that have happened to me be redeemed for good things ultimately.
It is really, really commendable to hear, you know, your dad, your nephew, the marriage and divorce, and then to ask you how you believe that things will get better. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I have hope. I'm an optimist. At the end of the day, I have to have hope. It's pretty striking. A lot of people would not be able to dust themselves off and believe in that after such a combination.
And I would lie to you if I told you that's all I've done every time. You know, like, if I told you that after every single moment, I just was like, nope, everything's fine. The amount of times that, like, I have been like, I don't know how this gets better. You know, I literally don't know how this gets better. It's why I quit my job at that one church whenever I was going through that bad relationship, is because I was like, I don't know how this gets better. And I don't deserve to tell people how to live a life like God wants us to live if I'm not even doing that. Like, so I can't do this. I don't know how this gets better.
Now, I do want to ask, I'm glad you mentioned you're married again. You mentioned that this is a relationship that you feel so strongly about, passionately about, and that, you know, you laid out that incredible story of her stepping up in a moment that was incredibly dark for you. Did you date other people in between? Because I have to imagine the first date after a divorce, as acrimonious as the divorce you went through, that first date must be rough. You're not on your A game that first date back out of the gate, right?
Yeah. So it was interesting. I didn't date. I think I went on a date. But I talked to a couple of girls, and at first I didn't know what to do. So I held the divorce card, like, close to my chest, and did something that was very unfair. I remember one time in particular where I was talking to this one girl who seemed great, man, and like seemed like she would be really fun to get to know. And then before we went on our first date, I was like, hey, I got to tell you, I'm actually divorced. And then she was like, yeah, I can't do that. And then we never talked again. And so I was like, okay, this is one of those moments where I was like, great, I don't know how this gets better, you know? And when I met my now wife, I told her out the gate. I was like, hey, before we get attached, I just want you to know I've gone through a divorce and I'm healing the best that I can. I'm in counseling, trying to make things better. But I just want you to know, and ultimately you have to decide if that's like something you're willing to put up with. And didn't hear back from her for a day or two. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then she messaged me and said she would love to get to know me more and kind of see where things go. It was difficult dating her because like she had never been married before. And it just fell into that like shame spiral of like, well, I don't deserve to, like, I shouldn't put her through that because she's never been married. So why would I take her first thing away from her? And I remember she said to me, what I have now said to other people, she said to me, let me decide if I want to put up with that. And so like, I've had conversations with people when they're like, the person I'm with doesn't deserve me to put them through X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, let them decide. Talk to them about it. Don't take yourself out of the game. Because I was ready to like end it. And she was like, let me decide. And it was super cool because as she would say things to me, like, you know, we would have our own little, like, we don't really fight, but we have disagreements. And when we disagree on something, there would be things that she would say that would almost like trigger me to feel some of the feelings that I felt from my prior relationship. And I would respond as if I was triggered. And she would like stop the conversation and be like, where's that coming from? And we would really be able to like dive into it together. And I'd be like, it made me feel like this. It reminded me of this moment. And I felt like I had to defend myself, you know, and the thing she would say to me every time is, I'm not her. So let me know when I make you feel that way so I can fix it. And she like taught me how to have a conversation with someone in a relationship again that was healthy. That wasn't me having to defend myself right out the gate and prove that I wasn't a bad person. So, yeah, dating with her was clunky and hard and difficult at first, but she is such a fighter that she wanted to fight so hard to like, let me know that I mattered, to let me know that I was okay, to let me know that I was ultimately loved. And she did such a good job of it. She did so many things that other girls would have been like, nope, don't have time for that. But that was not her choice. She wanted to stick it out and wanted to make it work. And we just celebrated our third anniversary of being married and our 5th year of being together. So, you know, I told her when we started dating, because, you know, I was new to the last one for less than 4 months. And I said, I'm not going to get engaged to you till we've been together for at least a year. And we're not going to get married till we've been engaged for at least a year. I'm not doing that again. And she was all for it. So here we are.
It is striking to me, you know, as someone who lives pretty agnostically, I do get the sense that there's almost like a divorced dating scene where different divorced people find each other. And there's friends of mine who are divorced who date a lot, where it's almost like, oh, this is how I meet the other divorced people. But it is striking to me, oh, if you grow up Pentecostal, you're in a culture where divorce is real, like a real albatross, and it makes dating so much harder.
Yeah, divorce is seen as a sin. You're done. Yeah, you're done. And, you know, my mom ultimately was a woman of divorce, and I saw that play out in the church where we had a pastor basically tell my mom and the guy she was dating, who's now my stepdad and is the greatest man on the whole planet. But, you know, he told her that he was going to take my entire family to hell if he stayed with her. And thankfully, that was mom's decision to leave that church after that, because she was like, that's not okay. And I think that was the first like realization of we might be a part of something kind of weird, and kind of learning how to move on from that.
Wild. I'm glad to talk to you today. I'm glad you're driving. I'm glad you're standing. I'm glad you got that friend to lean on. I'm glad you're in a marriage that you feel great about. Because I feel like I'm talking to somebody who had a few times in life, at least, and only the ones I've heard about, where if you went and made a bunch of self-destructive choices, nobody would have blamed you. People would have been sad, but nobody would have.
Yeah,
People would have understood.
Yeah. I had a counselor tell me the same thing. I had a counselor that asked me when my nephew died, he said, I have to ask you a question and understand if you say yes, it's okay. And he's like, do you hate God? And I was like, I didn't even hesitate. I was like, no, this isn't his fault. This is my fault. This is like the world's fault. I created this. People created this. God didn't create this. And he was like, yeah, I'm super happy you feel that way, but it's okay if you're upset at God because of what you're going through, but I would rather you talk to me about that than just try to put on a brave face. And it was an interesting thing to me because I had more than him tell me, like, no one would blame you if you went out and did some stupid stuff. Like, no one would be upset. And I just never felt like that was the answer. I never felt like that was what I needed. I never felt like that was what I was supposed to do. I felt like things ultimately had to be okay. And they were going to be. It wasn't okay now, but it will be okay. I had to believe that.
Good on you for being able to summon that. I think I speak for many listeners. There's probably a lot of people listening right now going, I don't know if I get to that point. At some point I give up.
I just can't because, like, there was a quote, and I forget who said it. I can't tell you. But it was basically like, I wonder how many people have given up whenever breakthrough was just over the hilltop. And it was like, I don't want to be that person. Like, I want to see what comes next. Like, there's got to be something better after this. And I can just quit and be like, all right, can't do it anymore. But what if there's something better on the other side? Like, my wife was something better on the other side. My best friend was something better on the other side. The conversations I've gotten to have with people that have given them a semblance of hope where they go, like, life does not always have to be this bad, was something better for me on the other side. And, like, I would have missed all of that had I just been like, this is too much, can't do it, final straw, I'm done.
Yeah. It's a good reminder. I sometimes express more pessimism and more hopelessness than you do when I stub my goddamn toe. I'm sorry to use the GD phrase with a religious person. But you understand what I'm saying. There's things that happen to me where I'm like, I can't find a remote. And I never think I'm going to bounce back.
I definitely get it. Don't apologize. I'm the least uptight Jesus follower you're going to have on this show. I can promise you that.
I don't know. We've had a couple Episcopalian priests that were real hippy-dippy.
Well, fair. Okay. I am the least uptight person who used to be Pentecostal that you're going to have on this show.
That I will allow you to claim that, but I don't think anybody's going to be more laid back than the Episcopalian priests. Shout out to the many Episcopalian priests who like to call our show. We're really big with hippy-dippy Episcopalians.
I love that. That's so great.
What's next? Do you have another? Oh, we only have a minute and a half left. We got to check the email. See if you got the new job. Yeah. Take a second. Check the email.
Let's check the email. Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Does it help if the person who's doing the hiring has already texted me today and told me that they're going to make an official offer today?
That's cool to hear. I want to be on the phone with you when the offer comes in. Though.
Yeah.
It might have to be behind the paywall at this point.
There you go.
How's that for a surreptitious plug?
So pay for it, y'all, just in case. You got a few more minutes. Just pay for it.
I'm so happy we got to talk.
I will gladly accept my payment check.
I know that this is it's one of those things I feel so silly on with this show sometimes when people tell me about really hard things, and you've told me about 3 really hard things. But I do just have to say, I'm so sorry that you went through any of them, let alone all of them.
I mean, it's okay. Don't apologize for that. Like, I literally think that it has made me a better person. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I really wouldn't. I value life differently now, having walked through what I've walked through, and fight for people differently and love people differently because of the things that I've seen and the things that I've gone through.
It's a good message for me to hear, and I think for a lot of us to hear. And I thank you so much. And now we'll say goodbye to everybody who's listening for free, and we will continue on at beautifulanonymous.com if you have just a couple more minutes.
Absolutely.
Caller, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing the details of where you're at in the micro sense, driving, dropping off orders, letting us into your life, and also so many things from your past that are not easy to share. It's really eye-opening. I know I said it in the course of the call, but the fact that those coexist is just such an eye-opening look at how life works and how things go, and I thank you for that reminder, and I thank you for your trust. Thank you to our producer, Andrea Quinn, the High Priestess of Beautiful Anonymous. Thank you to Shellshag for our theme music. If you want to know more about me, go to punchup.live/Chris Gethard. That also has my ticket dates, especially for that show with Chris Gethard, which is a new monthly show I'm doing in New York. It's going to have live tickets and streaming tickets. You should get those there. It's going to be very cool. We got a voicemail line. It's 973-306-4676. We are on Instagram at Beautiful Anonymous Pod. Join the Facebook group at Beautiful Anonymous, the community. Don't forget about beautifulanonymous.com. And we also have a TikTok. We have so many things now. Beautiful.anonymous on TikTok. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions. When was the first time you felt envy?
I think, is it weird if I tell you that it was in kindergarten?
That's fair. So you learned envy at a young age. I think actually most kids.
Very young.
My kid's in kindergarten right now, and I think he is starting to figure out, like, oh, there's some kids with much bigger houses than ours. There's some kids who have toys, that are clearly more expensive than his. He's figuring it out. I think this is about the age when you start to figure those things out.
Does their dads host one of the coolest podcasts in the country?
He doesn't give a shit about that.
But I do. I think it's great.
Thank you so much. That's awfully nice of you. Next time my son is being disrespectful to me, I'll tell him. Well, an anonymous person on the phone told me I have one of the coolest podcasts. Not the coolest, but one of them. Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.